Hey guys, From22 here, bringing you a sort of video update on my channel. So, I did some Let's Plays, but then my programs, DX Story and Handbrake, they really, I didn't really know, I couldn't use them that well. And so it ended up being like, the new videos I made, they didn't have audio, my microphone audio. So, I was like, oh, bummer. I kept trying to find a solution, but I really couldn't. So that's why videos kind of stopped for a second there. More than a second, but so.
Alright, yeah, run that back. Let's get that in one take.
She'd take the world off my shoulders if it was ever hard to move. She'd turn the rain to a rainbow when I was living in the blue. Why then, if she's so perfect, I still wish that it was you. Perfect don't mean that it's working, so what can I do when you're outside in my mind? 'Cause sometimes I look in your eyes and that's where I find a glimpse of us, and I try to fall.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
but I'm thinking of the way it was. Said I'm fine, said I'm not. I'm only here passing time in her arms, hoping to find
For you? Do you see it?
There was a 9 symbol and he said upside down 6.
I give it.
Oh, wait a
Oh, hold up. It's
second.
that,
Wait
whoa.
a second.
That's an upside down 6, not a right side up 6.
shut down me.
But my big news today is, I'm moving to Japan.
Tell me, save us your glory. Does he laugh the way I did?
You know that the American people know that. I mean, spaghetti with chopsticks, because that's what they do.
Maybe one day if you leave, and in his eyes you mean a
Hold up. Do you not know, do you not know anything about storytelling? Egos, anger, hate, depression. We're a Transformers YouTube channel, sir.
'Cause sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find a glimpse of love.
Is that you think your parents might be getting a Jewish lawyer. Now, I assume the problem is the Jewish part. So I thought if it ain't broke, it ain't fix it. It's worked before in the past. It will work again. So. I lost it. Now this is what I like to call the Bulba Garden social issues helix model. There's a scene where Hot Rod and Galvatron, voiced by Leonard Nimoy of all people, are fighting inside the halls of a demon planet. It's the 80s. Today I want to talk about if it's too late for the IDW Transformers comics. Let's flash back to high school. Oh god. Me, being a 6-year-old kid in the theater in 1986, just 1 year before I get my frontal cortex ripped from my skull by an animatronic at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria in the infamous Bite of 87. I'm sitting here thinking, whoa. What did he just say? Please be enough, please be enough, please be enough. Oh no! We only have about half the amount of rice we need.
By this point of the song, the person is just like...
I can't go to the store and buy more
on the
because the
fence.
stores are
Again,
closed
just
because
like
it's a
confused.
holiday.
Like,
In 1182 or 1183, Duke Otto bought Dachau
the option's
Castle.
still there.
You gotta be careful when the word Dachau is thrown around. I heard Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, but you know what? Good for him.
I said, here comes the bread.
You ever seen this? We totally have never seen this story before. Never in our lives have we seen this story before. The Decepticons are a movement that's becoming evil, and the Autobots have to stop them. On Cybertron?
Crawling towards us.
I can feel my intestines. Okay. Pools closed, pools closed, pools closed, pools closed, pools closed, pools closed. How do you open doors? Alexa, what
shooting at the
is
White House.
Benjamin Netanyahu's ethnicity? You also might notice that I could just completely walk off screen. I continue to walk off screen, and hey, I'm not on screen at all. I'm just completely nowhere. So yeah, I look forward to new videos from me, new Let's Plays, maybe do some Transformers lore if any of you are interested in that. And yep, I'm back. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. So, around 1 year ago, I created a video titled Finding the Commander Radix Aesthetic. It was the second episode in the Rad-Fort series. And in that video, I sort of talked about how the Commander Radix persona sort of exists in two different characters. One bombastic, insane character, and one much more laid back, maybe not laid back, much more intellectual. There was Commander Chadix, this absolutely insane eldritch horror, and then there was like Radix the academic, Radix the professor, who always wore button-up shirts and sometimes a suit jacket or something, or a blazer. Insane Commander Chadix would go onto Yahoo Answers and troll people online. Versus Radix the academic, who would give a presentation on the Boshin War, or on René Guénon's Introduction to the Study of the Hindu Doctrines. Commander Chadix would play a video game and think that it was completely normal to run a several-year-long series in which he played a visual novel dating sim. Radix the academic would produce a sort of commentary and reflection on the Christian doctrine of forgiveness. And in my video, I sort of commented how these two characters are sort of very different, very weird, and that the Commander Radix character as a persona doesn't really have much authenticity to it. And I decided that I wanted to be more authentic. You know, I mentioned that my conversion to Christianity made me want to be more authentic to who I am. And I kind of basically said that, you know, the Commander Chadix character, as some people have called him, is maybe that's not really me. That's me, you know, putting it on for the camera, being more of a entertainment type character. Versus the real me, nicer than Commander Chadix probably is, much more at ease, much more official, much more academic, much more professional, we might say. And as a result of that video, of my reflections at that point in time in June of 2024, I said that from that point forward, I was going to be more authentic on YouTube, and that I would be less of Commander Chadix, and I would be more of, you know, the more professional, kind, open Commander Radix. And as a result of that, I put away the sort of sunglasses that sort of represented the Commander Chadix character. We put that away, we retired it, and, you know, we locked that away to the before times. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think I was wrong. By the way, the camera might get a little bit blurry during this video. It's been doing that for like the past year, and I don't know why. And you know, I'm getting tired of trying to fix it every time it gets blurry, so we might just have to deal with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been on a quest for authenticity for a long time, and this quest has really amplified in the more recent days. But really, you can find that I have been struggling with trying to find who authentically is Commander Radix. Who am I? I've been struggling with that since almost the very beginning of this Rad-Fort, nay, the Commander's Cabin series. I mean, if you go as far back as 2019 to my Introverts Rise Up video, which was the second episode of the Rad Cave, which is sort of the precursor series to this current Rad-Fort series, then you'll know in that episode I sort of talked about in my daily life how I was learning to say no to people trying to bring me to social interactions because I just didn't want to. That just isn't me. So there has been like little pieces here and there all the way as early as 2019 where I'm sort of struggling with finding who I authentically am. And as far as the creative process goes, you know, you could argue that my very first video in this generation of the Commander Radix Primus Prime 22 YouTube channel, which is my channel update video from 2015, which I consider the beginning of this Commander Radix Primus Prime 22 journey, which, by the way, is almost going to be 10 years old. We are in the 10-year anniversary of Commander Radix. I'm not ready for that. But even that, I was sort of trying to explain who I am, what I'm going to be doing. This entire YouTube channel has been a strange look into my development as a human being, especially when you consider that when I started this channel, I was 18 years old, and now I am 27. So, that's sort of... me growing into a fully human being has been one of the journeys of this channel, and it still hasn't finished yet, but I'm hoping we're reaching some sort of climax of that story arc. But you can see these pieces of me trying to figure out what to do with this channel, who is Commander Radix, that sort of crescendo. What does crescendo mean? That sort of climbed all the way up to the Finding the Commander Radix aesthetic video where I tried to explain who Commander Radix is. The problem is I was wrong. And the bigger problem is not only was I wrong about who Commander Radix is as a character, as a persona on YouTube.com, I was also wrong, and over the year, almost said over the years, but over the years since that video came out, I'm starting to realize that I don't know who I am as a human being, like not even Commander Radix, like as IRL me. I'm still trying to figure out how to live, basically. And for those of you who have been following my Substack, you know, like the past, you know, roughly for also about a year, the content that I've been putting out on Substack has been sort of under this unstated theme of authenticity. Well, it's very much stated in the different Substack articles. I just haven't given like a proper name to the title, like as a series. But every single Substack article since like 2024 has all been about me trying to come to terms with different parts of my identity, coming to terms with expressing different parts of my identity, different things I think, different things I believe, and how I want to live more authentically. If you want to get into big details, more details about this journey of authenticity I've been going on, and you know, feel free to read those Substack articles. Specifically, the articles I would consider part of the authenticity series there are things that matter which sort of come to terms with sort of my political beliefs and my role in like society in that sense. Reflections on the Confederate States of America, which is sort of me coming to terms and presenting my understanding of my Southern heritage. Show Me My Cross, which is probably the most important article in the entire authenticity series so far. That sort of is setting the groundwork for a lot of things that I've been thinking about. I Don't Want a Niche, which is probably the most relevant for you guys watching me on YouTube because it's sort of me thinking through about how I want to relate to myself and how I want to relate to others through the things I create, specifically my YouTube channel. And then Reflections on a Social Media Fast, which is me sort of thinking about my relationship with the internet as a whole. and what role the internet should play in my life. But those articles are all sort of the authenticity series. I might produce some sort of authenticity omnibus video where I read these articles for YouTube, but that series isn't done yet because I haven't finished my journey of self-discovery. But yeah, so like I was saying, this sort of quest for authenticity you can see as far back as 2019, maybe you can even make the argument since 2015, but it's really been escalating the past, let's say, 7 months. And the reason it's been escalating the past 7 months, and part of the reason why I haven't been uploading lately, is because I got one-shotted by reflux esophagitis. I don't have an official diagnosis yet, but the theory is at some point stomach acid in my stomach went up into my lower esophagus, scarred it and inflamed it, and now periodically I just have difficulty breathing, and I have a lot of pain in my chest. And that started in like late January of this year, and it carried on into February where it just escalated in pain, escalated to the point where I thought I was having a heart attack and had to go to the emergency clinic. And just spending every day in pain. I am in pain as I am recording this video. The thing is, I've been living 7 months of pain and I've just kind of gotten used to it. But you know, that kind of puts your life into a few different... it puts it into perspective. Especially the day where I thought I was like having a heart attack. I'm like, oh man, this is it. I've had one too many McChickens. I should probably rethink my life choices, but oh well, my life is gone. It's over. It's Jover. But I have survived tentatively. I'm getting a how do you say it? Endoscopy in July. So hopefully I can get an official diagnosis. But anyway, that sort of experience, and the experience I'm feeling right now, has kind of accelerated me thinking about, am I living the way I want to live? Am I being who I want to be? How should I live my life? Up until this point, you know, I've been identifying my weak points, what I want to get better at, creating a to-do list and routines, and then doing these routines and to-do lists until I eventually burn out and never reach my goals. And then that continued for years, and it's like, if I suddenly died living like this, I would have lived a life that is in transit. I would have lived a life that was always towards some goal that I never achieve, and then I die, and then I don't get to reach the goal that I said I'll start living once I reach this goal. And yeah, that's put some things into perspective for me. Since then, I've discovered a lot more resources. I've read The Courage to be Disliked, which is a kind of cringe book, but it also was kind of helpful. It was thought-provoking in some ways. I talk about that more in my, I think my Show Me My Cross video, Substack article. You can read more about my thoughts on The Courage to be Disliked in that article. But and then there's other resources and content that have been helpful. A lot of Scott Mannion's videos have been really helpful, especially I've been doing his weekly review practice that he recommended in one of his lectures. Just overall, this sort of idea of being present in the world. The idea that, you know, I have been living my life kind of in the future and in the past, but never really in the present. And that's not good. That's not bueno. And I think to really live life, I need to be living in the present. You know, I'm going to get a little bit theological here, but this is where God is in the present. This is the moment He has given us right now. I've also been looking a little bit more into MBTI. You guys know that I have an interest in MBTI if you've been here since like 2017 when I made a video on MBTI. You guys know that I'm an INTJ personality. Do kind of solidly fit that archetype, I would say. And I've been looking more into, like, you know, ideas of disordered living, disordered psychology, right? The origins of that, the causes of that, what can make someone like me want to always live in the future and always live in the past, but never really living in the present. And, the more I read about INTJs and the way they think, the more it's making sense. You know, there's this idea in psychology called neurosis, which has a few different definitions depending on what school you're a part of. Let's just take the sort of MBTI approach to neurosis, which is to say when someone is becoming more rigid in their type preferences in the systems in which their personality works in, and unable to really balance out other parts of the personality that are necessary. Something that's important to MBTI personality types is the idea that to live a fully balanced life, you have your personality type preferences which can help guide you, but it also teaches you your weaknesses in regards to the other personality types and how you can sort of bring it together as a cohesive whole. That's a whole MBTI thing. I'm getting too technical for this Rad-Fort episode. But I was looking at, well, okay, when INTJs have neurosis, what does it look like? And it looks like living constantly in the future and not in the past and not in the present at all. That's how it looks like. I sort of looked into, well, how do INTJs approach creation? How do they create things? And the results I'm getting are like, oh, when INTJs are approaching a creative experience in a state of neurosis, they are going to be perfectionists. They are going to obsess over theory, over themes. They're going to be obsessed over purpose. What is the meaning of what they are creating? They're going to be obsessed with that, including aesthetics. Cut back to the previous episode of the Rad-Fort, where I spend 20 minutes talking about my theory for what the cmdrradix aesthetics is. And who the cmdrradix character is. And you know what? On top of all that, neurosis INTJs, when they approach creative projects, will just never release their projects. They will never finish it. They will never make it available to the public to see. And you know what? That video about cmdrradix aesthetics came out 1 year ago, and in that time frame, a grand total of 15 videos have been produced on this channel. 15! I think I once uploaded 100 videos in a year, in like my heyday in 2017, 2018. You know what I also did in 2017 and 2018? I also uploaded videos that were just sort of short, quick, fun videos. I uploaded videos where I just said, I'm just so hungry, and then blasted my hand inside a huge jar of M&Ms. I'm just so hungry. I created that wonderful sandwich video, the video where I made the peanut butter sandwich, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That was a classic. A lot of my favorite videos that I've made are like that.
Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go.
And you know, it's a time period where I was just kind of having fun. I was just kind of doing things. I was just kind of uploading it. Versus me in the past year, past 2 years, past 3 years, to be frank with you, where I'm kind of very worried about, oh, what is my audience going to think? Oh, my audience is only here for Transformers lore. When I upload something that's not Transformers lore, it gets dislikes, I get unsubscribbles, and I get comments saying, yo, Radix, why you so gay, dog? And then it all falls apart. So I'm thinking, oh, wow, I should spend quality time making quality videos. I should create scripted videos that are heavily researched, and no, then that makes it hard to upload on a regular schedule, so maybe I shouldn't do scripted videos, I should just do everything freeform style. And I get caught up in what I should do. And another thing that INTJ creatives do when they're in a state of neurosis is that they tend to withdraw into highly specific, highly niche intellectual content, which you can look over at my Radix Academy channel to see how that's going. You can see my over hour-long video of part 1 of a book called Introduction to the Study of the Hindu Doctrines by an obscure French-Algerian philosopher from the 1920s. You know, a lot of the way I've been thinking about my videos the past year, past 2 years, past 3 years has been in that frame of mind, and frankly a neurotic state of mind. I know you're thinking, cmdrradix. You in the suit jacket talking about Christian theology is you when you have neuroticism, and you right now is supposed to be more authentic. Oh no, Commander Radix, I don't know. Does this train have brakes? Because I'm afraid it's not gonna stop. You know, part of being more authentically me as a content creator, and I talk about this more in my I Don't Want a Niche article on Substack, but I need to learn to not worry about what the audience thinks, because the fact of the matter is my channel grew more when I didn't care about what the audience thinks. And the more I started to care about what the audience thought, the more the channel started to stagnate, to be honest. And you can see me reaching the peak of trying to figure out what the audience wants and deciding to be more authentic in my Finding the Commander Radix aesthetic video, where I sort of say there's these two completely different radices, if you will, and they don't work, so we're going to throw away Chadix, who's offensive, and then we're going to go to this academic-style Commander Radix. And I say in that video that, you know, I won't do scripted videos anymore. Here's what I think about that video now. 1, I think there are times when scripted videos and research videos are necessary. At the same time, I think it's also important to upload videos like this, like the Rad-Fort, where I'm just going off. Things which I'm talking to you, the viewer, through the camera, right? My mindset back during the video a year ago was that I can only make so many videos, and these videos should be top quality, top tier. And but I also want my personality to carry through, so I'll make top tier researched videos and then present them through a non-scripted form, as if that could be a thing that could work. It didn't. So I think, you know, just like back in 2017, 18, 19, there needs to be a mix. There needs to be videos that are scripted, that are informational, that are research, and there does need to be videos that are not scripted. But I don't think it's a good idea to force myself into one or the other. I think I should do both. Even if it, you know, hurts the amount of videos I can upload in a year, whatever. See my article about I Don't Want a Niche to sort of learn more about my thoughts on that. But my approach to art at this point in time, you know, again, I'm being very generous with the word art here, but my approach to creation at this point is, as part of my search for authenticity, part of it is you know, thinking that it's okay to be me, and I don't have to make myself marketable on YouTube. YouTube is never going to be my main source of income. Why am I doing YouTube? As a creative output, as a creative place to put my creative energies into. And also to sort of build a community, right? And I'm not really going to be able to do both of those things, or any one of those things, if I force myself into a strict aesthetic, a strict format. I just don't work like that. Not in my video presentations, at least. And another part of this, kind of related, and kind of not related to, like, who is Commander Radix, I've also been spending time thinking about who am I. Not just Commander Radix, but who am I IRL. And learning more about myself, you know, who is I, who am is, what. And, you know, the more I think about it, the more I'm realizing, for one, INTJs in a state of neurosis tend to withdraw and become more academic and serious, and I'm starting to see, yeah, that might be what I was doing the past few years. Because the fact of the matter is, my entire life, I have had a serious, intellectual, academic side, sure, right? You know, from when I was a little kid, really into dinosaurs, studying the ancient geology of the Earth, down to, like, middle school when I'm reading the encyclopedia, and high school where I'm becoming a big history fan. But it also is true to say that I have been a bit of a goofball since the very beginning. I have been a bit of a meme lord. I have been the word that the INTJ websites have described is playful. There is a playful side to the INTJ, and I think that's true. And I think me sort of, you know, in my video last year where I said, I'm going to be more authentic with you guys, I'm going to be more friendly, I'm going to be more open, blah, 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 blah. I was just sort of cutting out the playful side of Commander Radix, which is not good. That's no bueno. That is suppression, I guess, if we want to get psychological. I can't be in super serious mode all the time, although to be fair, I do have, again, that intellectual side, that academic side. These are two sides of me. I talk about, you know, in my video last year, about how these two things don't really connect together. But the fact is, these are two sides of my personality that, yeah, can I, like, sort of do some work to understand how they fit together more? Am I getting a bit bipolar with this? Maybe. Do I need to figure out how this works eventually? Sure, that's part of this whole journey of figuring out who I am. The whole authenticity deal. And by the way, I know I've been saying it a lot. I actually hate the word authenticity. When I think of authenticity, I think of some sort of yoga white girl talking about finding their authentic selves. And our authentic selves means we just have to be a narcissist. So there is a lot going on behind the scenes as I try to figure out who I am. But I have come to the conclusion that these are two sides of me. And, you know, maybe my personality doesn't necessarily fit an aesthetic. Yes, I mentioned the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Ghibli movies, and the Lord of the Rings being an aesthetic that really represents me. And I still stand by that. Those aesthetics really do represent me. But there's also this, like, neon Tokyo city pop vibe that I also have. That sort of fits in more with my playful side. You know, I am both simultaneously this guy who wants to live in a cabin in the woods and never know what is going on in society. At the same time, I am kind of a tech guy. Like, when I see technology and, you know, screens, part of me is going, oh, that's demonic. And another part of me is going, hey, that's pretty cool. You know, here I am sitting in a room I still have the RGB keyboard, which I probably wouldn't have gotten if I had gotten it if I was shopping 3 years ago. But I still have the LED lights around the room. I can still do, like, Alexa, change the lights to purple. Oh, they turned to purple. You probably have no idea they turned to purple, but they just turned to purple. You know, inside you are two Commander Radixes, two Commander Radices. One is a Northumbrian wizard, and the other is a Blade Runner 2049 character. How do I integrate those two vibes into who I am and my presentation of stuff on this channel in my internet persona? I don't know. How do I integrate that stuff into my own life? I don't know. But at the same time, part of an INTJ with neurosis is overthinking that stuff. And I need to stop overthinking that stuff. You know, one of the recommendations I saw for INTJs with neurosis who are doing things like YouTube is that they need to feel comfortable uploading videos and it not being perfect, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And a lot of my Substack articles have been created with the mindset of, I'm creating this thing for me and nobody else is going to read this, but I'm just going to create it and put it out there because I need to make something or else I will die. I strongly believe that creation is part of being a human, right? It's part of being made in the image of God. You know, God is a creator, and being made in the image of God means, to some extent, in some way, shape, or form, we need to be creating. And I have not been creating as much as I would like to recently. For like the past few years, I haven't been creating as much as I like to. And part of that has to do with the perfectionism that I've been feeling very strongly. And I need to learn to get over that perfectionism. So, this video is just sort of another Rad-Fort episode, a video of me just putting out a random video out there, not worrying about it fitting a style, fitting a brand, fitting an aesthetic, but also sort of a follow-up on what I've been thinking about as far as my creative processing is happening lately. A follow-up on my last Rad-Fort video where I sort of last talked about my creative process and how I've kind of done a 180 on that. Sort of talking about how, yes, there are functionally two Commander Radixes, but those are both actual aspects of my personality. Somehow they work together. I still haven't figured out how that works, but I also know that if I stress too much wondering how these two Commander Radixes fit together, I'm going to go insane. So I need to just stop worrying about it. I need to stop thinking about that. I didn't think about aesthetics and stuff like that to such an extent back when I was Primus Prime 22 and was having the most fun on this channel. Anyway, that's what I have to say. Just sort of having fun on YouTube, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to have fun. Why would I make a YouTube channel and do YouTube if it doesn't bring me joy, right? If I wanted things that didn't bring me joy, I already have enough of that. It's called my job. Or maybe that's the source of my neurosis. Anyway, more videos soon, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Rad-Fort. I know the Rad-Fort is the weirdest content I produce on this channel, but here we are. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Really weird if this is your first episode to, on the channel. Subscribe if you have not yet. Follow me on social media for updates. Links are in the description, especially X is where I put the most updates. Especially after my social media fast. My Substack also, I think I have a link in the description. I don't remember. But my Substack, I also have been pretty active on Substack, surprisingly. I didn't expect me to be so active there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, Christ has risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and upon those in the tombs bestowing life. Truly, the Lord is risen. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. 10 years on YouTube, can you imagine that?
Susan's on the frenzy and Jeff is on the coke.